this item in the briefing about J.D. Vance and iPhone encryption. This sounds like a major behind-the-scenes fight over your digital privacy.
It absolutely was. So rewind to early 2025, the UK government decides to use its Snoopers Charter, basically legislation that gives them, well, pretty broad powers to force tech companies to break their own encryption systems.
And Apple was the main target here.
Yeah, they were square in the crosshairs. The UK government had a specific and, frankly, pretty shocking demand.
Which one?
They wanted Apple to build a backdoor into iCloud. Now, get this, it wasn't just for accessing data of UK citizens. No, this backdoor would let the UK government potentially access any user's data.
Any user, like worldwide.
All 1.5 billion Apple users worldwide. Think about that. One government having a potential key to essentially everyone's digital life stored on iCloud. It's huge.
Wow. And the report mentions some pretty harsh penalties if Apple refused.
Oh, yeah. Brutal. We're talking potential fines of £10 million per day, plus the possibility of Apple executives facing 2-year prison sentences. They even mentioned potential criminal prosecution. The pressure was immense.
So what did Apple do? What did Tim Cook say?
Well, Cook stood firm. He was defiant, really, considering the stakes. His public stance was crystal clear. We refuse to build a backdoor that would weaken security for every one of our customers worldwide. He framed it as a fundamental security issue.
Was it just Apple pushing back, or did other big tech companies see the danger too?
No, Apple wasn't alone on this one. You had WhatsApp, Google, Microsoft, Signal, Telegram. They all opposed the order. They all understood the basic dangerous truth about backdoors.
Which is?
Once you create one, you can't really control it. It's like leaving a key under the mat. You might intend it for the police, but criminals can find it too. It inherently weakens security for everyone.
And there's history here, right? This isn't just a theoretical risk.
Exactly. The report mentioned the NSA's dual ECDRBG backdoor from back in 2013. That was basically a flawed security algorithm the NSA itself pushed.
Intended for government use, I assume.
Right. But guess what? Hackers found it and exploited it for years to spy on encrypted communications. It proved the point. Every backdoor, no matter the intention, becomes a vulnerability that will be exploited.
So the standoff continued. Apple actually pulled encryption features for its 20 million UK users, right? Neither side was blinking.
Yeah, it was escalating, a real mess for privacy. But then enter J.D. Vance. And his background here is pretty interesting, not your typical politician's resume when it comes to tech.
What was it?
Well, before politics, he worked at Peter Thiel's venture capital firm, Mithril Capital. He'd invested in tech companies like Affirm and Devoted Health. So he had this sort of inside baseball understanding of Silicon Valley, encryption, digital security, stuff most politicians, frankly, don't grasp on that level.
And as VP, he saw this wasn't just about Apple versus the UK.
Precisely. He understood the bigger picture. If a major democratic ally like the UK could force a tech giant to build a backdoor, what stops China or Russia or any other country? It would open the floodgates and put American citizens' data at risk everywhere. It was a global precedent.
So he got personally involved.
He did.
Yeah.
The report cites U.S. officials saying he was personally involved in negotiating a deal. He didn't just delegate. He worked directly with President Trump and DNI Tulsi Gabbard for months.
That was the message to the UK?
Pretty direct from what we gather. Basically that America wouldn't tolerate its citizens' data being exposed. He used both diplomatic channels and, crucially, his technical understanding to argue why breaking encryption was so dangerous, not just for Apple, but for global security, for everyone.
And the outcome. This is the surprising part.
Totally surprising. After months of this high-stakes negotiation, the UK completely backed down, just folded. August 2025.
And the report highlights this as a first, right?
Yeah.
A Western democracy retreating on forcing a backdoor after the U.S. stepped in like this.
Exactly. A major reversal. Apple then restored the encryption features for UK users. User privacy worldwide, essentially, dodged a huge bullet.
So what's the big takeaway here?
It really shows how combining deep expertise, Vance's tech understanding, with real political influence and power can achieve things that even massive corporations like Apple couldn't do alone. Silicon Valley had the arguments, but Vance brought the leverage. It kind of redefines how these global tech policy battles can be fought and won, especially when fundamental rights like privacy are on the line.
A significant victory for privacy, then.